Good evening, everyone. It's Kitton here from Ghost Stories with Kitton. I hope you're all enjoying your week. I hope that you all had a great Easter. And I'm back tonight with another series of real, true paranormal tales read to you by a real human and not AI. So sit back, get yourself a nice cup of coffee or tea or a nice drink, lounge and prepare yourself for some fun ghost stories. Let's go. My spooky interaction when I was a child. To this day, I really don't know what to chalk this encounter up to. My Nan had passed away about a year prior to this, and it's very possible it was her. Possible it was something unpleasant or totally imagination. But you have to know, to me, it felt very real. I was around 6 years old at the time, and my bedroom door was never closed when I was asleep. Just pushed to. My bedroom also ran sort of side by side to the stairs, with the top stair being visible from my doorway at a certain angle. For 3 nights in a row, I woke up extremely afraid in the middle of the night. I couldn't tell you what time it was, but it was cold and it was dark. All I had was my little nightlight, and that was on. That's also what makes me convinced this was something real. It wasn't pitch black and my eyes playing tricks on me somehow. I could see very clearly. Something appeared at the top of the stairs and peeked in through my door. It never moved the door open, but it was visible in the gap. A dark, shadowy figure. It was tall as the door itself. For 3 nights, it appeared every night. So I reacted differently each night. The first night, I was naturally terrified. I screamed out loud and hid under my duvet until I either fell asleep or it went away. I don't remember which. The second night it came, I tried to be brave. I told it to leave, and I shouted profanities at it, whatever ones a 6-year-old knew. But it ignored me, so I hid again. The third night, I pleaded with it. I said it was scaring me to death and I just wanted to sleep. I tried to make friends with it. After that, I never saw it again and have never experienced the same thing. I can vividly still see it in my mind to this day. AMA, if you have any questions, it's still quite clear despite being 30-odd years ago, and it still freaks me out. It never did anything to me, but it just stood there and stared directly at me all 3 times, the door closed towards my pillow end of the bed, so it's possible I felt something watching me, and that is why I'd woken. Next story. What in the world happened? So, my dad recently moved to Scotland, and me and my mum decided to visit during the school holidays. The house was old, and a sad, grey-looking stone floor, as are many houses in Scotland. I can attest to this. It looked like it was from medieval times, not even joking. But when I started sleeping, I would hear this creaking noise, like the ones that a wooden floor makes when some floorboards are loose. Floorboards. It was very weird. The house floors were all stone. I thought it might have been the wooden doors, so I ignored it. But the confusing part was, the doors we had, I later discovered, were very well maintained and didn't make any noise. Because if you didn't know, rusty metal hinges also make that similar sound. Something more weird was that it felt like it was creaking in my room. So it felt so close, but also so far away. I asked my parents if they woke up to go to the toilet or something. I asked if anything in the house could have creaked. They just looked confused. They said they didn't hear anything. I would have dismissed it as simply hallucination. If I didn't happen to know that it happened again, it was the same sound. No one was moving, but this time, when I focused in on it, it sounded like it was in my room, on the floor. I also felt this deep sense of unease for some reason. Might be because I was so scared. The same thing happened around 3 to 5 times before it finally stopped. But I am just wondering now, was all this a dream? I am more confused as to the fact this house has been around for ages and ages, and no one renovated the floors to wood or any other material. At least so I think. Any thoughts? Yes, your narrator here. My feeling is that stone floors are pretty sturdy, and if it's been around since the medieval era, it's probably still good to go. And anyways, it's better than linoleum, at any rate. Let's move on to the next story. I'm pretty sure I saw a car this morning that wasn't real. This feels like it belongs in one of my Glitch in the Matrix series. Feel free to check those out if you hadn't. I've got a bunch of videos of them on this channel. But we'll read it here anyway. For context, I work as an industrial painter, so I'm on the road on my way to work around by 3:30 in the morning, when it is still very dark. I was going down the very empty highway, not the freeway, the highway, when I came over a hill and saw a car in front of me that had not been there before the hill. There are no side roads along the stretch of highway for a car to turn off of. This car seems to be moving at cruising speed, about 60 miles an hour, but slowing down. About a half-mile down the road is a road I turn off on to get to work, and the car in front of me turned its blinker on to turn down the very same road. Once on the road, it slowed down to about 25 miles per hour, and by this time I was quite close behind it. I could see that it was a Hyundai Santa Fe. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Hyundai Santa Fe. But the license plate was kind of worn, and I couldn't see all the letters/numbers. The car kept brake-checking me until we were going about 15 miles an hour. This is also a one-way street with cars parked on both sides, so I couldn't pass. We drive like this for a few minutes until we get to a stop sign, and the car turned right. Then it was my turn to go, and I looked to the right, and the car had turned there, but suddenly there were no taillights visible anywhere down the road, which is straight. We were also the only cars on the road. I didn't see any other cars parked on the side of the road there either. I drove the rest of the way to work and got stuck behind a train. Still, the only car out. It was kind of strange. It was just really weird. I don't think the car was real, in all honesty. Maybe something making sure that I drove slowly for some reason. Update to this story. I just drove over the same train tracks that I'd got stuck on at this morning. There were a bunch of repair trucks on and near the tracks. I'm curious as if something was wrong with the guard/light this morning. I will Google it later and see if anything comes up. On to the next story. What does it mean if something keeps calling my name and following me? I don't know, it probably means you're being stalked. Alright, here we go. So I started a new job in a care home. The place is creepy as hell. There are 2 floors, and for some reason the top floor is just covered in mirrors and windows with no curtains, and the place just feels heavy, like you're being followed all the time. Anyway, I work night shifts, and it was my first night, and I was asked to check on the residents upstairs. I got up there, and I just keep hearing a male voice whispering my name. It was like next to my ear, and then further back. There were no residents even awake, or even any that could mobilize independently. As I work nights and was new, none of them would have known my name anyway. I did not look in those mirrors. I kept my head down the entire time. I went down and asked the staff if they were honest, and said that they'd forgotten my name already. So it couldn't have even been them. They didn't even know my name. What could this be? How the hell does it know my name? And is none of the staff and none of the residents. Not to mention, I went in a resident's room between 2 to 4 a.m. I can't remember exactly what time. This patient has no dementia or cognitive impairment, etc. She is alert and oriented. I was helping her, and then she said, "Why is that man just stood there, watching you instead of helping you? Girl, what man?" I said. She said, "There's a tall man stood behind me just staring at me." When I tell you I did not turn around for the next 5 minutes, I just kept the poor dear up even longer to keep me company. I am so scared working here now. Wow, it's a great story. Let us know if you've got any updates, if you're hearing this, because I would love to hear more. Encounter with a mimic? I, 16 female, might have had an encounter with a mimic, but I'm not sure. I was just scrolling socials on my phone when I heard what seemed to be Alexa talking about something rather inaudible. I've heard her say lots of random stuff before, so I wasn't too worried. However, there was nothing that could have enabled that reaction from her. I assumed that maybe my brother was home and connected his phone to hers by accident. But he's nowhere near. My first instinct was to just let it pass. But it didn't sound like she was going to shut up any time soon, so I got up out of bed and opened my door in hopes that I could just find out which Alexa was talking and tell her to stop. Which technically happened. Basically, it came to an immediate stop as soon as I opened my door. A little odd, I thought, but nothing that has me entirely shaken. I know mimics tend to mimic people, but I wasn't sure if this was something entirely possible as well. Something mimicking Alexa. Any thoughts? Something unexplained happened to me. Don't know if this is the right place to post. It is. But I'm trying to make sense of it all and hopefully reverse. I can't really explain it, but I'll try. I took a lot of NyQuil, and I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I felt an energy leave my body from my heart center, and then I suddenly lost my voice. I was in a hotel by myself, and I sensed it going through the wall to another room. It feels as though somehow it siphoned my soul, like my love, my innocence, my essence, and my spirit. Ever since, music doesn't hit the same anymore. I don't dance like I used to. I can't sing. My voice is different. It's almost like it's lifeless. I don't feel like I have the same pull on men anymore. People they kind of treat me differently, and not in a good way, in a bad way. I don't know. But it feels like someone stole my heart, like literally, like soul harvesting or something. I promise I'm not making this up to you. I'm just trying to understand. I slept for 20 hours, and I feel like there was an aware entity in my dream. TLDR, had an insanely vivid dream where I was a shape-shifting fox named Rada, who waited 300 years across lifetimes for a crow spirit. Black cat, then crow, then 7-foot otherworldly guy in black eyes and long hair. Intense, fated pull, consuming kisses, soul merge and longing. But when I almost went lucid, he bit my lip hard so as to stop me, and it actually hurt. It hurt so much I bit him back. Woke up exhausted with strong longing, even after 20 hours of sleep. Feels like it explains why I never fully enjoyed kissing or intimacy in real life. Longing for supernatural Hindu mythology interpretations. All right. So I found myself in a world that did not feel entirely human, like something pulled straight out of an Indian mythology. I was not my fully self. I was a shape-shifting fox, and my name was Rada. Everything in that space felt ancient, like I had existed for far longer than I could even understand. But at the same time, I believed I was just a mortal, at first, confused and unaware of what I truly was. Then there was him. His name was Ritwik, or at least that is what he called himself. It was the name of someone I knew in real life, my cousin actually, but he didn't look like him at all. It felt like he had taken that name, almost as if he was pretending, using something familiar to get closer to me. That realization made me feel like everything was even more unsettling, like something was just off beneath the surface. The first time, he compared our sizes, and mine was way smaller than his. He was like, well, you are young, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm a fully grown adult. I cannot grow anymore. And he was like, you will grow. You'll grow a lot. Do not worry about it. And I thought that was so odd. He told me I had kissed him when I was drunk. I did not remember it clearly, which made it worse, like something had happened when my guard was down. He said that from the very first moment he saw me, he knew that I had an intense longing for him. That line stayed with me, because it felt somehow intrusive, like he saw something inside of me before I even understood it myself. Around me, people were laughing, mocking me, like I was the only one who didn't understand what was going on. I felt confused, exposed, and a little scared, like I was being watched or judged while trying to piece together something deeply personal. Time did not move normally here. It felt like I lived through multiple lifetimes, although I do not remember the details of all those lifetimes. In all of them, I never had a permanent romantic mate, and I did not remember Ritwick either. Not for 300 years, not in a simple way, but like a deep, stretched-out existence filled with longing and time passing in ways that did not make sense across various lifetimes. He was a shape-shifting crow, by the way. When he came to visit me after 300 years, he came back as a black cat, as if to disguise his identity, and then right in front of me, he shifted into a crow, and then into his human form. He looked otherworldly, though. I've never seen a human quite look like that. He was about 7 feet tall. The way he cupped my face felt perfect. I also remember what I looked like. Pale skin, big eyes, huge lashes, and full, beautiful lips, almost like an aspara or a doll. I loved his touch. I needed him in a way. I wanted to merge souls with him. He looked even more altered than before, tall, almost unnaturally so, dressed in black robes that flowed around him. His hair was jet black, falling all the way to his waist. His eyes were black, his skin pale, almost otherworldly. He looked powerful, majestic, and unfamiliar, but at the same time, I knew it was him. There was no doubt in that recognition, even if everything else had changed. Despite the fear and confusion, I felt an intense pull towards him, stronger than anything I have ever felt in real life. When we were close, I did not feel the same discomfort I usually feel about kissing. Instead, I loved it. It felt natural, overwhelming, like I could not stop even if I wanted to. At one point, I almost became aware that I was dreaming, like there was a flicker of lucidity, like I was remembering something about myself, like how I am disgusted by kissing in real life. But then there was this moment where he looked at me deeply, intensely, almost as if saying, "No, you will stay here. You will stay here with me." And he bit my lips so hard, as if to say, "You cannot feel pain in a dream." But it hurt a lot, and so I bit him back. Passionately to say I have fangs too. I'm a fox after all in this dream. And it felt like that awareness had slipped away, almost like something pulled me back into the dream, like I was not allowed fully to wake in that moment. Then he lifted me into his arms. That moment felt effortless for him, grounding for me. As he held me, the kiss deepened. It was not just physical, it felt consuming, like I was being completely pulled into the moment, into him. There was something in his eyes when he looked at me, something unreadable, intense, almost knowing, and that feeling made it impossible to pull away. The way he cupped my face felt like my face was made only for his hands to hold. I literally slept for 20 hours, time stretched and folded in ways that did not match reality. Everything about that experience felt so long, too detailed, too emotional, too real to be just a simple dream. I woke up unwillingly. I wanted to sleep more. But I have an exam tomorrow. Even during the dream, I woke up a few times, but the dream continued. Even with all the confusion and manipulation, the fear and the sense that something was not entirely right, I still felt drawn to him. I still recognized him, and I still could not stop myself from wanting him in that moment. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think that one was a ghost story, but it definitely was an interesting dream. And I'm glad you included it. Thank you. Something keeps riding a bike past my house at 11 p.m. So it's happened a couple of nights in a row. Stopped for a while and then came back. It's very clear, very obvious sound to anyone who knows it. It always happens right when I get home from my PM shift, 11 midnight. I've taken the dogs out past 2 to 3 am, and I never heard it then. What I hear is basically someone riding a bicycle on a dirt road. Those who know will know. I live on a dirt road. I wouldn't say it's a scary place. I live in a very peaceful, rural, mountainous area. It sounds very clearly like a bike. Not a car, not a unicycle, not horses, not coyotes, or mountain lions, nothing. It's very clearly the sound of 2 wheels rolling across a dirt road. At first I thought, that's weird, riding a bike at 11 p.m. But then I realized the noise didn't stop. It kept riding back and forth past my driveway. But that was always in the same direction, from left to right. It's always louder to the left, and then it quiets a bit to the right. I thought all the logical thoughts. Maybe someone is riding a bike, and they're planning to rob my house. Logical. Maybe it's some sort of animal. Maybe it's an echo of something across the valley, because sometimes coyotes really do sound closer when they're not, because noises carry really far in the valley. But it was so clear. It was a bicycle. Then I hear breathing, not normal breathing, in, out, like someone would naturally do if they were on a bike. It sounds like my dog's, a dog, an animal breathing, like how my dog goes, sniffs around for a bit, and then clears his nose for various scents by huffing, kind of like a chuff. It sounds like that, but it's consistent. Every couple of seconds. I went to hell inside thinking it's probably an animal, and my brain is relating it to a sound, but maybe I know. Next time it happened, it was dead silent outside. Normally I hear owls. Maybe a woodpecker, coyotes, bugs, all normal mountainy. But it's too quiet. There's nothing but the sounds of my dogs. I get them both inside. And I don't let them to go outside to do their business. I've read the warning signs about being out at night. If it's quiet and nothing is making a noise, get the fuck out of there. But I heard the noises again. I wanted to figure out what it was, so I went back out. Hopefully you let your dogs out too. It gets louder. I'm standing in my garage at this point. No dogs outside, no lights on except the ones inside my garage. I can't see the bottom of my driveway. It's too dark. But I swear, it's right there. I go back, I close the garage door. The noises stop. The next time it happened, it was the most recent full moon. With how bright it was outside, I can see all the way across the valley. And I hear it. I look like a crime scene investigator, studying the trees. If it's a human, they've got to be hiding behind something. It's not. There's nothing there. But the sounds persist. The most recent event, note, I took the dogs out. They're doing their business. Good, I'm glad they got too funny. I heard the breathing. This time, I hear footsteps. Not human footsteps, but almost like hooves on grass. It can be an animal, it could be. I'm a logical person. If it's an animal, they're not likely to come near my 90-pound German Shepherd dog, unless there's multiple of them. Even mountain lions don't like dogs. And I feel safe near him. Herein lies the issue. Dog doesn't hear a thing, but I'm freaking out, thinking there's someone down there. I tell him to come and sit between my legs. There's no reaction from him, no ear twitch, no bark, no looking. He doesn't hear, see, or smell anything, and that is what freaks me out more. Neither of my dogs have any reaction whatsoever to the sounds, but I hear them very clearly. It's not like I hear a branch break in the distance. They're right there. What am I hearing? Is there any animals that make sounds like that? I'm thinking, as you wrote it, maybe some deers, especially as you said you heard hooves too. But if it was deers, I feel certain your dogs would react to that. But even then, if it was an animal breathing, what is making the sounds of a bike on the dirt road? I'm not about to find out if elk can ride bicycles tonight. Cliché experience. Just a preface. I have had real paranormal experiences, but this one is somewhat funny. Middle of the night, I woke up to Joe Bart talk screaming while playing some game. My teen had fallen asleep with the TV on. Annoyed, I grabbed my phone, switched the TV off. Half awake, I decided to check on the cranky teenager, make sure he had a blanket, didn't fall asleep with a glass of soda in a precarious place, and do a thing where I lovingly look at the stinking mass of human who woke up one day suddenly hanging for all of life's answers. As I'm walking down the hall, I hear a male voice say, "Boo," like the traditional cartoon ghost sound. Not a whoosh, but an actual male voice say, "Boo." I muttered out loud, "Oh, hell no," and I said a quick prayer of protection. I then turn on the hall light and turn on to check the other teen who is asleep with my dog. I called the dog. He hops out of bed, ears back, tail between his leg, and he nuzzles me. Proceeded to the living room to check on the other kiddo. Left the hall light on, and then went back to bed. I've never had any activity in this house, but this one was kind of funny. I was told to go no further. Back in 2007, I was a paid fire investigator for a large paid fire department. We had a 4-fire alarm and a group of 6 large buildings that were built in the early 1900s. Heavy timber and brick construction, with each being 7 to 9 stories tall. For years, the floors were cleaned with an oil-based chemical, so these buildings were essentially one big matchstick. The fire came in around 2 in the morning. The fire was stopped after it destroyed 3 of the 6 buildings. Later in the afternoon, the investigators were having a meeting on site, and a captain from one of the engines came up to us and said that he was looking for the fire extension in the 4th building. He heard, as he described, several blood-curdling screams coming from what he thought was the basement area. He said the water was too deep. With limited lighting, he was unable to do a complete search of the area. By the next day, we knew the water would have drained out, and so I volunteered to go and check it out. Me, myself, and a big flashlight. I entered from a street level, which was actually the 3rd floor with a sub-basement, and then the basement itself, so 5 floors to go down. Where the light from my flashlight was not focused on, it was a total blackened out environment. Couldn't see my hand right in front of my face. No sound other than my breathing and the creaking and popping of the old wooden stairwell that I was climbing down. Firefighting is a pitch-black job for the most part, so I wasn't freaking out about lack of lighting. When I reached the sub-basement level, I heard a distinct male voice say, "Stop, don't go any further." It came from further down the stairs. It wasn't demonic sounding or anything. It was just a male's deep voice, maybe a little gruff. I hesitated, thinking my mind was playing tricks on me. I shined my flashlight down the steps, but the floors were roughly 20 feet apart, so I couldn't see the next landing. There was a landing at each fire floor and another halfway between. I was in the between sub-basement landing and the next hallway landing when this happened, so technically I should have been able to see at least the outline of the next landing, but my flashlight's glow was just eaten up by darkness. I remember I took 2 more steps down and my heart skipped a beat, or probably beats, because in a more forceful, louder voice, the same voice said, "Stop." It wasn't a quick stop. It was drawn out, very matter-of-fact, "Stop." And that did it for me. I turned around and started making my way back up to the level I came in on. I'll say I was finally scared and doing a little full-body shaking, because I couldn't go fast enough, because I had to visualize each and every step with my flashlight's glow. I finally made it back out to the beautiful sunshine and told my chief it was just too dark to adequately do a search. I wasn't about to tell him about the voice. He would have told me I was nuts. Later that week, we had to have that building demolished. Once the debris was removed down to the basement level, we ran a cadaver dog over the area, and it hit on nothing. And then, just to say we covered all the bases, we then had a forensic team come in and go through that area, and they also found nothing. I'm not sure how you would classify this type of occurrence, but I'll go to my grave knowing what I heard. Your narrator, I can classify that experience for you. That type of ghost experience you had, and I do believe it was a real ghost experience, is something we call a warning apparition or a crisis apparition, and you did well to listen to it. They're very rare, but when they happen, key examples of this is, girl is in her house cooking food on the stove. Apparition shows up, tells her to run, to leave the building immediately. And she's so scared by it, she does run out, right? Who wouldn't? And then there was a gas explosion in her apartment, and if she was in there at that exact moment, she would have died. But because the ghost showed up and gave her the warning, it actually saved her life. So I do believe whatever it was telling you not to go down there. Maybe something related to electricity in the water, if it properly hadn't drained down there. There was a reason you weren't meant to go down there. Alright everyone, with that, if you're still with me and you're not asleep yet, thank you for staying with Kitton while she reads to you paranormal stuff. We have officially reached the end of this episode. If you could take a moment, as always, as to like or to even drop a comment, maybe even one of your ghost experiences, I'd love to hear it, and it hopefully helps the channel too. So I appreciate you guys. Without further ado, take care and good night.